We are recording. Oh, shorty with that nose though. Anyways, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dupre. And you might be looking at me and being like, Bree, why your eyebrows fleeky but your eyeshadow not? And I have an answer for you. As most of you guys know, the coveted cult favorite Modern Renaissance by ABH palette has been out for a couple years now, I guess, and everybody and their mama has come out with dupes, and everybody and their mama has come out with a warm tone palette since this. So I thought it'd be a great idea to have two eyeshadows with the same color scheme compete for a battle of the dupe of which one is most comparable to Modern Renaissance. So the next time you guys hit pan, like I have, on Cypress Umber or Tempera or Vermeer, you can refer to a palette that's like $7 or $5 that you can get from your drugstore. So I have with me today two palettes, and they're going to compete for which one is the most comparable and biggest dupe for the Modern Renaissance. So let's go ahead and get into it. I want this to be a new series on my channel called Battle of the Dupes, where we compare two dupes to the original and decide which one is more like the original. But I want you guys to know, even though I'm going to compare these two palettes today and one may be declared the winner, that doesn't mean I won't accidentally go to the store and find another one and compare it to the winner and see who takes the belt. So this could be like an ongoing thing with the same palette or different palettes. It's just, and it's not going to be like a series coming out like every single day. It's just going to be like when I have enough money to buy three, to have three palettes that are exact same. That's when it's going to happen. So I just wanted to do this one first because I already had one. I bought the other one the other day at Ulta, which I featured in my Ulta haul. So we're going to go into it. The first palette that's going to be competing against, the first palette that's going to be competing today is this one from Wet n Wild. It is called Rosé in the Air. And I'll open it up, and this is how she looks. She's 10 shades. So the Anastasia Beverly Hills one is 14 shades. She's 10 shades, so she is missing a couple. Super compact, super cheap. I believe this is like $5, something like that. And I have used it once or twice. Super blendable, super pigmented. And it's going to be competing against the Makeup Revolution Reloaded palette in the style Vitality. And this is how she looks here. Now, unlike the Wet n Wild palette, this one has 15 shades. And as you remember, the Anastasia Beverly Hills one has 14. So this one actually has one more shade, and then this is black here. The Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette does not have a black. And I actually do appreciate that, because although we are doing a warm tone look, obviously, it is always nice to have a black to really get nice and deep in your color scheme. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be using my color switch here and the same brushes, and we're going to have this IB Wet n Wild and this IB Makeup Revolution, and we're going to do swatches. We're going to compare formulas, and we're gonna see who is the best dupe for this palette. So we're going to do it. I'm not sure if I want to do a like ruby look or a warm toned look, but whatever way we're going to do, we're going to listen to the instructions and use this color as a transition. If you look close, it literally says transition on here, and that's, I guess, Wet n Wild came out with a lot of these palettes, and that's like what they're doing. So whatever, I'm going to take my BH Cosmetics 101 brush, and I'm going to first make sure there is no product on it. And I'm going to take that camel color called Transition, and I'm going to pump that in my crease. Now, I know for a fact that both of these have a little bit of kick up and a little bit of fallout. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of RCMA translucent powder to pop this in my crease on my left eye. For some reason, I sometimes feel like my right eye turns out better than my left eye, which is super odd considering the fact that I'm left-handed. You think, here, let me zoom you guys in a bit more. You'd think with me being like left-handed, it would be better on my left eye side, but my left eye actually waters a lot. It was actually watering yesterday, and when I was baking, the water kind of coagulates with the powder right there. It makes me look super patchy, and I did not like that at all. I will say, wet one, super pigmented. A little bit of fallout or kick up in the pan. I'm not seeing any fallout on my under eye. And super blendable. So now we're going to take that same brush. I'm just going to put it in my color switch here. And from the Wet n Wild palette, we are going to take, oh, you know what? That might help us. Is it helping? Not really. From the Makeup Revolution palette, we're going to go ahead and take this color here, which is also the camel color. And we're also going to blow this out all over the crease. And I have noticed, because I did film this yesterday, and I didn't get to finish my eyeshadow look, but I did use a couple of the eyeshadows. And I did notice that with the Makeup Revolution one, you sort of have to build it up and dip in a couple times to get to the same opacity. This is something that we're going to note in our comparisons. Now, the Wet n Wild has 3 warm tone berry red-esque shades. This one here, which is like a true berry. This one here, which is like a burnt red. And this one here, which is like a burnt orange. However, the Makeup Revolution one, which is more similar in color scheme, because this one has 2 of the berries and also has the burnt orange, but doesn't have that burnt red shade if you really look at it. And if we go to look at the palette, they do have 2 berries and a burnt red and a burnt orange. So it's looking like from both palettes, they are missing 1 shade from those 4 shade color schemes. And that is something that we are going to take notice of. Now I'm going to take this Wet n Wild. There's not a number on it. It's previously stained because, like I said, I made this video yesterday and I got a little bit into the look, but we are cleaning it up. But just know that it's still stained. But this is like the brush that came in that holiday collection last year. And I am going to take this berry tone right here. And I am going to blow that out in my crease too. When the brown and this berry mix together, it gives it a hue, but it's not like super overwhelming. So that's what I like about it. So mix it up. If anything, it kind of darkens it up a little bit. Oh, we got some eyeshadow in that place that I don't like. Dipping in again. Really focusing it in my outer V and bringing it in. Taking the Makeup Revolution palette, I'll take this shade right here and put that in our crease. Oh, this is looking beautiful over here. Y'all liking that? Look at that. Ooh, catching that sunlight. Catching that sunlight. Hey, catching that sunlight. Now this one, it seems to have some glitters in the eyeshadow. So, and this is my 3rd time dipping into the palette. So we have that and that. This one is looking more berry. This one's looking more purple. So, something to keep in mind. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take this bone shade in the palette right here. I'm going to put that on my brow bone to lower this blend down a little bit because it's looking a little too unblended. This is a trick that I like to use. It kind of just helps everything sort of blend together in my book. And go ahead and switch the color. And then from the Makeup Revolution palette, I'm going to go ahead and go in with this shade right here. But it also looks super pigmented, so that's pretty cool. This Morphe M514 brush, it's like a smaller blending brush, and I'm going to take this brown here and deepen up the outer V. And the only problem I have with this Wet n Wild one is when you want to deepen up the outer V, this is the only option you have. You have to use this brown. And like, it works for on the go, but if you're trying to make an in-depth, well thought out eyeshadow look, basically what I'm trying to say is they're gonna look the same. Like, a lot of the eyeshadow looks that you create with this palette are going to look similar to one another because the only color you have to deepen up the outer V is a brown. And that's my cell phone. So apparently your girl popular today. Never popular any other day. Questions why I pay my phone bill any other day. But right now when I'm filming, of course people want to hit me up. So that's nice. How almost uneven it looks over there, and how more even it looks over here on this Makeup Revolution side. I did color switch this just so you are aware. It's almost crazy how well blended it looks right here. Do you see my outer corner? Do you see where I packed on that brown? And then do you look over here and see where I pack on that brown there? It almost looks like inconsistent. Let's color switch and go back in with Wet n Wild and see if something else is happening. I really haven't played with this brown much. I really haven't played with this palette much in general. I really just used a couple of the shimmers a couple times. So let's go back in with this brush, color switch it, put some of that berry on there. Try to blend this out. In my opinion, when your eyes are open, it doesn't look that bad, but like, in my opinion, this one is just blending a little bit better. So now let's go ahead and get a shimmer shade out. I'm going to use this shade right here. Now this shimmer shade right here, I'm pretty sure it's the dupe for Primavera, which is a shade that I'm really close to hitting pan on. I don't know if you can see how deep it goes in, but if we swatch them here, you could see that that's what the dupe is for. And it's actually one of my, these two shades right here, I'm always using a mixture of on my eye. And then here's a swatch from the Makeup Revolution one. So you can see there, the Makeup Revolution one looks more spot on and more comparable to the ABH one. I'm not going to cut my crease or anything like that. I'm just going to take a flat shading brush, this champagne color here, and put that on the lid. First, just going to use the brush and see how pigmented that is. Okay, so there we go. You kind of have to pick up a lot. Let's sort of get the shape that we want out. And I am getting a fallout from that. And now let's see how it looks with our fingers. I feel like it's looking a lot better with our finger. but I also feel like it's not looking that good though. Let's go ahead, let's change brushes in there, and then let's just use some setting spray. I'm going to use the Makeup Revolution Dewy Mist because it's just what I have right here. Let's see how that looks. Okay. For some reason this was looking better yesterday. I don't know what the issue is. Different flat shading brush because I have a lot of those. We're gonna go into this color here from Makeup Revolution. First, the same way with just the brush. Whoa. See how it looks with the finger. Using a different finger, of course. We should even try it with the setting spray because it already looks way more shinier. I mean, you can tell the difference there. When Wild, I mean, Makeup Revolution When Wild. Like, it's just more pigmented. I don't know why it's looking like that. I feel like it didn't look like that yesterday. Lipstick and some eyelashes, and I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. Okay, so here is the finished look. I didn't put any falsies on. My eye is watering though. I just put some caffeine eyeliner and Dupre up here, and on the bottom lash line I just used the berry color, the camel color, and the brown color from both palettes. So Wet n Wild, Makeup Revolution, and I just put some eyeliner from ColourPop, and then some mascara, and then for my inner corner highlight in the brow bone I just used the LA Girl Strobe Light and the color How Many Watts or whatever, or kilowatts, whatever it's called. It's actually not here anymore. So I'm looking at my lips like, are they cute? Are they worthy? Okay, so here's what I want to say. Upon swatching this, when I go to swatch this palette, ugh, girl, there are some huge inconsistencies. What are they doing? Sam! 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 Sam is humping Cicely. They do this all the time. They fight for dominance. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. When I go to swatch this palette, I want you guys to look at these swatches from this Wet n Wild palette. There are some huge inconsistencies. We have one that's super pigmented, and they even feel different. I need to make a white. Okay, so the Wet n Wild one, like the transition shade feels soft. This one feels super rough. So there's definitely a lot of, this is the only shimmer and it's super crumbly. And it doesn't even show up that great. So they're super inconsistent. There's a lot of inconsistencies in this Wet n Wild palette. Also, like I said before, there's 10 shades in here. So the shade comparisons that this one is missing is Vermeer from Anastasia, Raw Sienna from Anastasia. What else is it missing? Antique Bronze, and also Golden Ochre. If I go to compare these here. And then this one only has one of the shimmers. Now, given the Anastasia palette only has 2 shimmers, but they're important. Whereas for the Makeup Revolution one, they do have both shimmers here and here. I'm going to do some comparison shots. And also, when I look at the Makeup Revolution palette and I look at the Anastasia palette, it looks like they have every single shade down. They even have that weird shimmery taupey bronze, which is here and here, where it's not like a shimmer, but it's like a matte with glitter in there. And so it looks like they have every single shadow, and then they decided to add a black, which I actually appreciate. When I'm talking about formula, when I go to swatch this palette, every shadow, not every shadow, but every shadow that I'm touching is soft. It's like I said, it lacks the pigmentation though that the Wet n Wild one has. If we're going to compare those, lacks the pigmentation. I want to do some comparison swatches, so I just wipe my hands off. I have to do one that's in here too. Okay, let's swatch the transition shade. So I'm going to do it Wet n Wild ABH Make Revolution, just so you guys know. Oh, here we have Wet n Wild, here's Anastasia, and here's Make Revolution. As you can see, it looks like Wet n Wild and Makeup Revolution together are more warm toned than the Anastasia color here, which is Raw Sienna. Well, I mixed Raw Sienna and Burnt Orange together. Let's just see what Burnt Orange looks like, because maybe that's the color. Yeah, so Burnt Orange is here and Raw Sienna is here. So I kind of mix them together, and you can see the comparisons here. Again, Wet n Wild ABH Makeup Revolution. So here's Primavera here. This is this is Wet n Wild, and this is Makeup Revolution. So in my opinion, Makeup Revolution looks similar. I feel like this one looks a little bit more like bronze, like a golden, and these are just like a different, it's still a golden, but it's just less gold, almost like a tan. So there it is there. Let's go ahead and swatch Cypress Umber. For some reason, the Makeup Revolution one, it looks a little patchy when I swatch it, but look at that. All three of these. So here is Cypress Umber, here's Wet n Wild, here's Makeup Revolution. All three of those look like the exact same eyeshadow. Okay, so we're going to judge these palettes on 3 categories, and the best 2 out of 3 will be the winner of this dupe. The number 1 is price. So which do I feel like it's good for the price, or which one is cheaper, or which one is more comparable in price? Number 2 is going to be formula. So is it pigmented? Did it blend well? Did it swatch well? Is it consistent? And then number 3 is going to be which one I feel like is really a true dupe for the Modern Renaissance palette, meaning does it have the same colors? Are the colors similar? If I swatch that color and I swatch Anastasia, will they look the same? So let's go ahead and get into number 1 for price. I'm not for sure how much the Wet n Wild one is. Actually, you know what? Let me look it up right now. I know for a fact that the Makeup Revolution palette was $7 because I just bought it, and I actually couldn't believe that because I bought this one and I bought a knockoff for the Subculture palette. But let's look and see. Getting it for $4.99, so $5 like I said. So we got $5 for Wet n Wild and $7 for Makeup Revolution. In terms of formula, getting it for $4.99, so $5 like I said. So we got $5 for Wet n Wild and $7 for Makeup Revolution. In terms of formula, Wild is cheaper. However, I feel like I get more bang up for your buck with the Makeup Revolution because you have 15 shades. It looks like a good palette. Like, it doesn't look cheap. It looks like an expensive palette. And I mean, the Wet n Wild one, you can travel with it, but so I'm gonna go ahead and give this one to Makeup Revolution. $7 for a full palette that's, I mean, almost the same size as the Modern Renaissance. In terms of formula, I have to go ahead and give it over to Makeup Revolution again. We even saw here some inconsistencies in this area versus how well blended it is over here. I mean, I did the exact same thing, used the exact same brushes. There is no excuse. And I even felt that way yesterday while I was doing it. I just feel like this one, even though I do have to sort of build up the pigmentation, it's almost like a pro because then you're really getting a nice soft blend. Whereas with Wet n Wild, it sort of just all kind of poofs in one area, and it's sort of harder to disperse the product. And number 3, in terms of which shades are most similar, they both seem to be spot on. The only problem I had with Wet n Wild is that the shimmer shade here looks a little bit more tan or a little bit more bronze than the Makeup Revolution one. But I'm gonna go ahead and check out the both of them for that one. The shades were kind of sort of spot on, especially with that Cypress Umber dupe, so they both get those. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that the winner is Makeup Revolution. Now, if you are traveling, I would recommend the Wet n Wild one. You can put it in your pocket, honestly. But just the fact that it even has the same amount of shades, has duped every single shade, and then they even decided to add a black. Something that ABH couldn't even do. In case you really wanted to take it there with those looks. The blendability on this is just off the charts. I can picture myself using this. I'm glad I have a new Cypress Umber in my life, because that one I've hit pan on, and I can't believe I only paid $7 for this. Literally $7. And I just can't get over how soft these shimmer shades are, how spot on everything is, how soft and creamy and blendable these mattes are, how I have no fallout under my eye from neither one, but may I add. It may be less pigmented, but that doesn't mean it's not pigmented. I'm going to go ahead and insert swatches here of the Wet n Wild, the Makeup Revolution, and Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. And here is Makeup Revolution, and here is Anastasia. Look at that. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys like this kind of video, let me know. I will look for more of these, or even, you know, do other dupes. I do have a dupe for Subculture, and I know that Hush.com sells a dupe, so maybe I'll go ahead and do that. Let me know. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that Makeup Revolution is the winner. I am actually really excited about this. I like this eye look. I actually really do prefer this shimmer shade over the shimmer shade, and that's pretty much the tiebreaker for me there, was that shimmer shade. So please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching today.